Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination thrive. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair. Calm down and get your teeth again at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Calm down and get your teeth again at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Center.
All right, testing. Let's try that out. I did nothing but restart the broadcast, and hopefully I have sound, because if not, then we're fucked. All right, hey, welcome to Wednesday. Happy Superman trailer. First trailer, the longest I've waited for a first trailer going into a movie since I've been watching movies. For those of you who did not get a chance to join us this morning, I did a trailer review right around 1 p.m. because I wasn't getting up early for any of that madness. And I am going to put that into the chat for you guys right now. For those of you who want to go ahead and go back and watch it, if StreamYard is allowing me to do that. There we go. And copy the URL. And I might even tag that to the thing. All right, cool. All right, you can hear me good. Like I said, I never know which StreamYard. All right, there you go. All right. Don't know where the fuck Brad is. I never really do, but I'm pretty sure at some point during the next 10 minutes he'll pop up because I know he wants to give his opinion about the trailer as well. And we were not able to do it together because of our 3-hour time difference, and he was well into his day when I finally started to do mine. But how is everybody doing? The two main things we're going to talk about tonight, obviously, when Brad gets here, we'll go over the trailer again. We'll go over to a little bit more detail and slow it down. Also, we're going to talk about the return of HBO Max. One of the dumbest things David Zaslav and company did when they came into the company was take HBO off of the brand HBO Max. HBO is a damn near 6-decade established or 5-decade established brand. You don't, if HBO is on something, you keep it there. That is a brand. That is a trusted brand. What they were smoking when they decided to take it off was dumb. I heard their justification the day that they did it, and it was dumb then. And guess what? Guess who finally figured out how dumb it was? They did. So there you go. What did I learn today? As far as Superman goes, same thing I came into the day knowing that not all, but a good number of Superman fans are full of shit. Today's trailer reaction for some of these guys proved it. A good percentage, not all, not the majority, not overwhelming, but a good number, and they tend to be the loudest ones, are full of absolute dog shit. And they're disingenuous too. Most of the stuff that they had to say, they were going to say it no matter what was in this trailer. Bugs fucking Bunny could have popped out of a cake and just danced for 3 minutes, and they would have said the same shit that they had planned weeks and months ago before we even knew a trailer was going out. So that's the one thing, like I said, it wasn't a new lesson today, but I was reminded that a good number, and it's mostly the loud ones, when it comes to Superman, are full of absolute feces. But even amongst those, there was still some good conversation to be had. I didn't have to remute Superman again. I've been able to keep it open. I gave my impression of the trailer earlier today, and I enjoyed it more than I thought it was going to. One of the primary reasons, and I said it in my review, is it reminded me of the previous version of Superman. I was able to, when I watched this, I'm like, my biggest fear is I was going to get some fluffy kids garbage Superman that is basically a figment of the partial memories that people have grown up with. I was afraid that I was going to get some cartoonist bullshit. I really was. And I'm like, let me give James Gunn. Every time I think that, about James Gunn, he ends up, giving me a story that I really, really connect with. So I'm like, okay, skip me the Lanterns, but let's get through this. And when I watched this trailer today, I was pleasantly surprised. I felt Man of Steel to me. Now, some people may not agree with me. That's fine. That's what opinions are. But the elements that I like about Zack Snyder's Superman were all there in this trailer for me, more so than I ever thought. To me, that says that you can approach Superman with a different flair, different style, different color, doesn't matter. If you're going to tell a Superman story and you're going to contrast him with the rest of America, the world, the human race, there are certain things that are just going to be there. And if you try to avoid those things, it looks real dumb. You get a bad version of Superman, which is, like I said, almost impossible to do. He's doing it in a different way. He's using other means to put those same points across. But like I said, like I said this afternoon, that conversation that he had with Pa Kent, I could have put Diane Lane in there. The conflict that he has is as far as what he's trying to do versus how the world sees him. That's literally what I was watching 10 years ago. And I say all this in a good way, but the hilarious thing about it that I'm watching today, when I did, dive into the cesspool that were the responses to this, is that the same stuff that that Superman had been maligned for in his previous iterations, we're now being, oh, that's great, Superman is back. If I heard one more fucking person say Superman didn't go anywhere. All right, the childish imagination, the figments and the fragments of the ones that you put together in your foil ball in the head to make that Superman that never existed anywhere, that is, that was gone. But Superman has been there. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the trailer. But I will stand on it, and I said this. We even made this a topic of the show a few weeks ago, and my question is being answered: Are a certain segment of Superman fans worse than any fandom out there? Star Trek, Star Wars, doesn't matter. And I already had that answer to the question because I had 2 eyes and 2 ears. I can see and hear. But there are still some people out there who can have a positive conversation. There's people out here who could enjoy this trailer today without, using it as a sledgehammer to try to smash up somebody else's version of Superman that may or may like. Once again, before you say anything, when you type something or you respond to something, ask a question that I asked 24 hours ago. Are you here for the movie or are you here for a fight? And if it's the latter, just go away. All right, so late to the game as usual. Let's bring in.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, by the way, horrible sponsor I am. Sorry, sorry, Warner Brothers. Or actually, no, it's Paramount. I'm sorry, get my confusing. Okay, yeah. We got to.
Another probably topic we're gonna be discussing in the thumbnail too.
Yeah, and it's a quickie because it was stupid to begin. We kind of talked about it since it did. It was dumb.
Well, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right, since 1996. Since 1996, Tom Cruise has brought Ethan Hunt to life, mastering everything from daring plane
to
chases
rock climbing to
unforgettable underwater escapes. This May 23rd.
Gun fu.
I'm reading an official drop. You can't do that while I'm watching and doing an official drop. I got to start over now. Sorry, handlers.
I'm just describing the best mission.
Brad is we'll edit this out. Since 1996, Tom Cruise has brought Ethan Hunt to life, mastering everything from daring plane chases to unforgettable underwater escapes. This May 23rd, gear up for the ultimate adventure when Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning lands in IMAX. For those of you in the Las Vegas area, some of you have already won some of your seats that are on our social media campaign. This weekend, I will be giving out tickets to a certain amount of customers who come see me, and I will be handing out posters as well, Final Reckoning posters. And then in 2 weeks, we will be doing another ass-kicking type film in the Ballerina. We got something special to promote that. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. I think you John Wick fans are really going to have a lot of fun in the way we promote that. But yeah, Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning in IMAX, in theaters, May 23rd. Okay. Let's say hi to the chat before we dive into the. Like I said, listen. By the way, although I'm annoyed with the loud segment of Superman fans that literally just want to fuck with other Superman fans, the vast majority of the day, I was actually able to go back and forth without the dumb shit. I was pleasantly surprised about that. Especially given the fact that, in my opinion, dude, I'm not saying that James Gunn is influenced by Zack Snyder one way or another. What I am saying is that there are certain things that you are going to come up against no matter who is doing the story. And if you try to dismiss those things and go around those things, it shows. So,
well, I mean, on that point, I mean, is he influenced? Did James? Well, first of all, he has said like he took influence from a number of different directions, whether it's Donner or Snyder or various iterations of the comics. But like give some of my quick impressions of the trailer. I mean, we're talking about a Superman movie in which he faces public scrutiny, faces backlash from the U.S. government for intervening in a terrorist attack in the Middle East. Lex Luthor is plotting behind the scenes to tarnish his image. I promise when we get to July.
Once again,
I'm going to be nice.
This rule applies
I'm going to be nice.
This rule applies to you too. Are you here for the movie? Or are you here for the fight? I'm here for the movie.
I'm going to be nice. But I'm just saying, all of those elements
No, I mean
you may
that's
have
not.
seen elsewhere.
And here's the thing: in defense of the people who kind of like, you know, peed all over that back in the day, they weren't ready for all that. To be honest with you, I don't think you could have done. I don't think James Gunn could have done this type of movie in 2013. I think people still had their heads wrapped around their plushy Superman from when they were a kid type of situation. I think it's a much of the audience coming around, the legitimate ones, not the ones that are full of shit and that, like I said, already had their preamble, already had their script ready to say this was the greatest thing since Oppenheimer created the bomb type of situation. those people, I'm pretty much I'm moving on beyond those people because there are some Superman fans out there that aren't those people. Those people are here for the fight. They are not here for the movie. Nothing would have meant whatever came on that screen today. Those people were going to say Superman is back and finally the best Superman since 1978. Most of you fuckers weren't even alive and couldn't comprehend that movie in its time and date that it was released anyway. But those guys I'm pushing off to the side because, like I said, they're dead weight to the fandom, in my opinion. But the other people, that we went back and forth, and some of them, have evolved to the point where when, they weren't willing to give things like this a chance 10, 15 years ago, but times have changed. The world has changed. We've had iterations of superheroes that are not, not the cookie cutter plushy type things, and people have grown to appreciate that. So I'm going to give those people room to evolve.
Like I said, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice, but
once again, if you're going to war, go somewhere else. And I mean,
nice.
I mean that
I'm going to be nice
as far as Superman fans across the board. If this trailer is just another chapter in your war, one way or another, go somewhere else. Maybe pick a different character. Something. I mean, because literally, you're the antithesis of what the character is. All right, still not feeling the new trailer. Like I said before, I'm skipping on comic book movies in 2025. That's fine. I will be. I'm definitely not skipping Fantastic Four, but I'll be there for this one as well.
Maria with yes, indeed, I was right.
Was right about what?
First, I think she's probably referring to Mission Impossible 2.
I don't care.
No, I mean, I'm sure she's talking about Superman. Like I said, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice. Again, I could drop trow, but I'm gonna be nice.
But you'd be one of them. You're a journalist. Are you a journalist? Are you a journalist or a troll?
I said I'm going to be nice.
It should be automatic. It shouldn't even be in your DNA to be a troll, because we've seen troll journalists, and then those are the kind of people I'm like, click.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are, now that we've seen the trailer, there are probably 800 different areas where I could be a troll. I'll be nice.
The internet has enough trolls, and they've ruined enough things. All right, let's see. Daniel Martin. I'm going to try to hit as much as we can. And then we're going to dive into this a little bit.
Are we going to watch the trailer again?
Yeah, we'll watch it again, and then we'll kind of pause it. I haven't yet, but I'm sure it's coming because I know Junkie had some issues today. He was saying on the show. I think it would have been different.
I would have went a different route as far as the government or media doubting Superman or running a smear campaign. That theme was covered extensively and exhaustively. Again, like I said,
you can't. If you're going to want to be taken seriously as a Superman, this is what I mean. Where it's like it's not going to matter 10, 15 years unless the world changes to where people and the government aren't what they are. Then you are going to have to address that no matter which version you do. You might even have to do it multiple times simply because guess what? 10, 15, 20 years ago, we were in wars. We were in two different wars. How would Superman fit there? You're going to have to deal with Superman and the government. Exhaustive as it is, it's part of Superman. And that's what people don't understand. It's like you can knock down a house and rebuild it, but the ground is still the ground, the sky is still the sky, and you're still on planet Earth. There are certain things that are going to be constants that are part of that storyline, and I think too many people try to dismiss those, and you can't. It's part of it, the contrast of what he is. And I don't think it was covered enough in BBS. We only, dude, BBS is only a 2-hour whatever movie.
3 hours. Well, it depends on whether you're watching.
Depending on what version you're on. I mean, that wasn't any. What they covered in BBS wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. Look at the world we live in now. You think that's going to be covered or addressed in one movie? I don't, Daniel. I mean, that's just my opinion. Okay, listen, not this Cowboys been ready to shut up in the chat, man. This might be my second least favorite Superman. He doesn't give me Superman vibes at all. I could listen, that's an opinion. I don't know what Superman vibes are. I guess they're gonna differ from one person to another. So
well, I'm gonna before like fully making a judgment, I'll definitely
okay. Brock Lesnar's in the chat.
It's probably Spidey or fourth.
Watch out, because Brock, you gotta be testifying here pretty soon. You might just want to plead the fifth for it. I don't know. It could be. You know what? Hey, it could be the best things I saw today are in the trailer. Who knows? I've seen movies where when I got to the movie itself, the trailer was the best things about the movie, and then I just sat through the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet.
You know, one thing I did say when I posted about it is like the punk rock kind of theme is growing on me. The kind of the punk rock sort of quality to it is growing on me.
The only, like I said, some of the stuff after I watched it a little bit, like I said, and I see where some people are. I don't like the colors. I don't care if I'm in the minority. I don't like the contrast of the colors and how I love the cinematography. It's great. But I do see, because at first I didn't see it, and I was talking to a buddy of mine today, and I've read thousands of comics, hell, maybe a million comics, and some of the people I was in my chat with were like, well, that's the way it is in the comics. And I'm going to say this over and over and over again, guys, and this is just from me. You guys can view things however you want to. When I'm reading a comic book, I am not watching a movie. When I'm watching a movie, I am not reading a comic book. Even if those two things are adapted on each other, for me, my expectation is that they exist within the confines and the structure of what I'm told. Comic books are 4-color fantasies for a reason. That's what you had to draw with. You weren't going to paint a portrait of every single page like Alec Ross back in the 1960s. It's not. I'm not reading a photo album. I'm reading a comic book, and I don't have expectations. My expectations for when you translate this stuff into live action is that it's recognizable. And I don't need I don't need all that for Superman to be recognizable. I've seen plenty of other, comic book characters that have been transferred over. Now, there are some times when the contrast does work to make it kind of blatantly ridiculous, and that's with the Fantastic Four, because they are cheese personified. They're met that way in the world around them. But if you looked at the Fantastic Four trailer, it's them. They are the ones that look like that. But as far as the rest of it, it looks like just like a Manhattan. To me, so that's just a personal preference opinion. So that was the one thing I kind of at times I kind of felt overwhelmed with scenes, because there's like it's not real. It's like an artificially type of thing going on there. But other than that, I love the cinematography. I love the Top Gun shit that they were doing, because that's directly influenced from Top Gun Maverick. And after I've seen Top Gun Maverick, anything that flies, that's the way I want to see it fly. I don't care if it's a raccoon. Like I said, this is going to be the minute. Like I said, you could be right, Brock Lesnar. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So today's topic is basically the trailer. Dude, this movie could suck. I don't know. Aaron, question: are you and Brad going to do a reaction of the Iron?
Oh yeah, talk about that flying under the radar. I got buried big time.
No, because I'm not even going to watch the show. So sorry.
Yeah, really, not the best day to to pick dropping that, and especially with the fact that all respect.
They did that on purpose.
Well, not just that, but also all respect. I don't think the character made much of an impact in Wakanda Forever anyway. So
I don't think anybody in Wakanda except for Angela Bassett, and she got screwed. Yeah. I saw a lot of Man of Steel and BBS in it. The way they tackled some scenes with the 70s suit. I remember people hating those films. Now, you know what? Like I said, if you hated that back in the day and you have since then wrapped your mind around it to appreciate it, I'm welcome to the club.
Like I said, I'll be nice. I might take.
There should be no other. There should be no other option. If you're a troll, those options are there. If you're a journalist, then that should be automatic. I mean, we should be the ones welcoming the people into the fold. The other people, if you guys have noticed, when you retweet stuff like some people have retweeted my stuff, and I see it, and I'm like, I'm not responding to you. And I go by the golden rule: not everybody needs a response. I mean, not everybody needs a response. I think the bigger people are the ones who just look at it and be like, I saw a lot of Man of Steel on BBS and the way they tackle something. Okay, yeah. So I like I said, I saw a lot of it. I mean, I saw parallels on pretty much every frame, and like I said, in the best way. Now he's tackling these things in his way and with his form, and that's fine. That's why whenever somebody tries to say something is definitive Superman, I'm like, sure, because who defines that? Who define fans don't I don't define what Superman is. I define what Superman is for me. But if you're writing a movie, the person behind in the director's chair, that's the person defining a Superman.
And you know, and there's this. I mean, in all seriousness, like putting all the joking aside and all the, 98% promises I will be nice come July. But something else that kind of occurred to me, like in all seriousness, sorry, it's falling. Sorry, me. Because like we could look at especially if you're enamored with BVS, you can like look at the trailers and like see the parallels with the kind of the general story and like plot beats and character parts. And one thing that has kind of been on my mind, and this trailer really did sort of solidify it, is that if he is playing around with the multiverse, as a core element of his franchise, which he seems to be with the whole pocket universes thing and whatever, that Peacemaker scene is going to, point to in Peacemaker Season 2, it kind of makes me wonder, like, what if that is kind of like an intentional thing on his part? Like, what if the idea is that or what he's trying to set up in this is that the idea that every Superman in every reality kind of has to go through some kind of like trial by fire. What if the idea is he wants to like create my Superman is parallel to this Superman in this other world because they both were initially distrusted. They had problems with the government. They had to win the world over to their side, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what if that is like, what if like, his, and I don't know if he's like, is going to like fully pay this off in this movie. What if the idea is that this is meant to like almost like hold a mirror up, like Corn Sweat is meant to like mirror Cavill in ways that are intentional. And there might be ideas that, hey, I'm going to like put these guys by side as the franchise progresses to say, like, this is what Superman throughout the multiverse. These are, I mean, as a term I kind of used in one piece I used, I wrote a while back on Fortress was like anchor events, as I called it.
I have nothing to say that wouldn't be plausible. But I don't have anything to say that. I mean, that's as valid as any other. There, we'll have to see. We'll have to see the movie, and we'll have to see how he progresses. With Peacemaker, and what, if the explanation in Peacemaker is whether I'm right or anybody's right or what it is. We're gonna have to find out how he's saying this and how we haven't heard how he is going to address that from him as far as like Elseworlds and anything else that. And so still I hear from him, or I get some kind of hint, then yeah, everything's on the table until it is.
Yeah, but that thought has kind of occurred to me. Like, what if his universe is meant to have events or character arcs that are intentionally meant to be parallel to other versions of the characters as a way to kind of establish this is like every version of these characters has to go through some kind of trial by fire, and they parallel each other in some ways.
It's plausible. I don't know if that's a lot to take on, but it's very possible. Azteca, when the Intercessor says we're so back, it's stupid in my opinion. They never left. They never left. I mean, like I said, the composite Superman that people have put into their head and shaved it down and dissected it, and like I said, took the things that they make them feel good. That one's always going to belong to you. But now you're telling a storyteller to tell a story, and when a director or a writer is writing a story, they can't do like what fans do and just take the elements that give them the warm and fuzzies. They have to tell a complete story. And a lot of times these guys run afoul of people because they're stuck with that foil ball with all the pieces that they like stuck together, while somebody else has to write a story from front to back. There's a difference. That's why fans are fans. That's why we have our place, and then writers and directors have their place.
Yeah, we're so back. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But Clint says I call Clint all sorts of audience. That's sort of troll. Well, I mean, it's like, well, yeah, but you troll me too with like Brad. Like, he can't. Brad's gonna be there day one for Scary Movie 7 or whichever one we're on.
Did we really need to take our show down that road, guys? Come on.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Reyes says yes, they we or they or both, we did fly too close to the sun, and now look at us.
Let's see. I'm just going through before we go into this.
Fourth also asks from that Mission Impossible poster, is Tom Cruise falling off? I sure hope not.
Nah, he's actually. If you look closer to the poster, he's actually chained to the plane. Let's see. I'm just seeing before we go into this. Patrick Child. Oh yeah, where he comes up and heads down. He's attacking something. It looks like. Bob cameo. Let's see. Getting the job done. The yellow emblem and the red cape really good. That emblem sucks. I'm sorry.
I like the emblem on the cape better than I do on the front of the suit.
I'm okay with the emblem not being on the cape or not, but if it's the same emblem that's on it's the same emblem I hate on the front with the Kingdom Come logo is the same one on the back, and I already know I'm gonna hate it on Supergirl. So it's like I said,
yeah, I can take it or leave it on the cape, but I mean, but yeah, but I do think that of the two, like the one on the cape, I think comes off better.
It's like, wow, look, if you didn't know,
I was already Superman.
That I was Superman. Let me remind you. Oh wait, you're walking up to me, and is there a bunch of other people with capes with different logos on them? Oh wait, you got the S on the back. You must be Superman. Can I turn? It doesn't kill the suit for me. But once again, the trunks and all that. Every time I see this costume, I dislike it even more. I hate this costume, but not a deal killer for me.
Spoiled on chainmail, as I say.
And that's not even chainmail.
I'm talking about like Cavill and Hecklin both had chainmail.
That's not chainmail.
No, look, check it out. It's totally chainmail, both of them.
That's not chainmail. I've worn. You can wear chainmail armor and armor reflected. That's not chainmail. That's a
chat. Bat me up. It's totally chainmail. Come on.
You don't need. I mean, you can look up what chainmail is. You don't need to back anybody up. People on social media are just gassing themselves up to already love this movie before it even comes out. I see people already say David Cornwell their favorite.
Well, those are the people who want to use it as a weapon.
That's what I mean. I mean, if some of these people were already had it written down. They could have had it tattooed on their ass because it wasn't going to change.
There were people who I saw. I saw. I mean, there were people, and I can name names on this, right? Who
we don't need to.
Who were saying Corin Sweat was before you'd heard a line of dialogue from him. They were saying he's the best Superman they had ever seen, and same with Holtz Lex Luthor. It's like anybody who's telling you that, it's like they have an agenda.
Let's see here. Master King, how are you doing? I had no intention of answering every comment tonight. Sorry.
One from Aaron.
But this is true. It's just textured. Is all it is.
By the way, thank you, Brad, for sending that. Yes, with DY Sao and the whole kind of his what he's got coming up. Yes, this is a kung fu discussion that doesn't concern.
Thank you, guys. You tuned in. You tuned into a guy in trunks and a red S on his chest, and you got subjected to some shit you don't even come on.
Yes, this amazing display of physicality that we're going
things
to
that you guys can talk
coming
about
up
on your kung fu show with you
called Gladiator Underground with DY Sao and two of the Martial Club guys. One of whom is in the upcoming Hong Kong Ensemble Furious.
You and Perp and Aaron can talk about this on your show and have so much fun with it.
We are gonna go to town when the Furious comes out, guys. The Furious,
not here.
You're gonna hear about it. Trust me.
I can mute you too. All right, do you want to bring up this trailer, or you want me to bring it up? Because you hadn't. I already did a review.
I'll bring it up in a second. Yeah. Well, I have seen it. The yellow.
I mean, you didn't get a chance to on this platform to
go ahead and bring it up. There we go. Here it is. Okay. Okay, bring it up now, guys. Okay, here it is. So let's get it blown up, and here we go.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah.
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
Sure.
I thought this was the most important part of the trailer.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for what some
it's
might.
A lot of fire,
it's a lot.
Yes, I have.
Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My actions? I stopped a war.
All right.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
Pause. Yeah. All right. So this set the tone for the whole trailer for me.
Yeah. I didn't kill those men if that's what they thought.
No, but the fact that he has a certain justification of values that doesn't necessarily jive with everything around him, and she's playing devil's advocate, and the fact that he's not being subtle about what he was attempting to do, and the fact that he actually gets angry about it and defensive about it, I thought was pretty cool, because he should be defensive about it. He should be leaving what he's doing, and I thought this set the tone for everything else. Go ahead.
All right.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're going to be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
will cause
anybody
more
except for me
problems around the world.
and doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
Stop. Pause. Pause that. Okay. That's exactly the right answer. That's exactly right. He's dealing with a calamitous situation, and he seems like here that he realizes that even if I don't intervene, it's 100% guaranteed that people were going to die. So any damage that he may have incurred that they're angry about, he's right in that the way he gets the tone in which he gets is why I'm always screaming at the screen when people are like, well, Superman did all this damage. I'm like, well, shit, Zod was going to step on the entire planet. He was going to terraform every man, woman, child, dog, and parakeet off of the planet. So what did you want him to do?
Kind of like this damage we're seeing in the trailer here with
in his response to it. So go ahead.
And by the way, actually, one thing I'm not clear on here, this whole battle in the city that's unfolding, is that the conflict he's referring to, or is that in the desert, or are they linked? Or
no, this sounds like the one that they're referring to, because there's a war and he's in
this one that we're seeing him flying around fighting and buildings falling. That's the one that Lois is talking about.
It's probably a composite. I think there's a one with the war or something like that. I don't know, because there's not enough of the trailer for me to give you an answer at that.
All right, again.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
I love that shot.
Your choices. Your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Pause. Okay. That's something that you're going to have. You can go back to George Reeves Superman. You can go back to any version. Him sitting, talking to his parents to reaffirm what he is in every good version of Superman I've ever seen. So that's what I mean when I say there are certain things that you're going to cross no matter what. And like I said, you're not paraphrasing, But when Martha says you can be some of it, you can be all of it or none of it, or something like that, that's the same message that the parentage of Superman has been saying all this time. So that was cool there. And now that I know that it's Pa Kent, because I remember when we had seen that before, it looks like Ma Kent's around too. So he got both his parents in this movie. So cool. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. He's somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
You have a dog?
Yeah, like I said, I could always go without crypto for the rest of my life, but you added them here, so make the money. I really, like I said, there are certain aspects that are not going to be for me when it comes to Superman 2025. I've already gone ad nauseum. I don't like the costume. I don't like the trunks. I don't like the logo. I don't like anything about the costume. That's not a deal killer. I watched the guy with the toilet seat on his head and enjoyed that. I'm fine there. The cinematography, other than the fact that it looks like everything looks like it's in Central Park with an open sky, I'm not, that's fine. I'm not, like I said, I don't require my comic book movies to bleed over like that personally. That's just this one comic fan. Those flight scenes, I really did like those. I like the angle. I like the very first one, and he shoots up, and it looks like the camera's moving up as he's going up, and he's going to the side. That's cool. Fight scenes with the kaiju, all that kind of stuff looks like standard superhero stuff in the good way. The differences is like when Cable Superman was more stoic. There was the weight that Superman carries is carried differently between the two movies. It's carried differently by different actors than David Cornsweet is being directed, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But my point is there's weight in this movie. The same weight that was in any of these Superman movies is here. So Superman never left. We could literally do a 4 or 5 hour stream with all the parallels of all the Superman that we've ever had. And what you'll find is that people have taken their tweezers and they've picked, oh, this made me feel good. Oh, I remember this. This was cool. And they put it in this little dish where they formed the Superman that doesn't exist anywhere but in their head. But if you're open, and I was open to it, if you're open to the interpretations, you'll see that a lot of the best things that a lot of people have shed on for a long time are in all of these movies. And it's in this one today. I mean, one of the main reasons I enjoyed it as much as I did is because I felt the weight there. I felt, I felt more, like I was watching something from the Man of Steel era than I was some of the other comparisons. People compared it to the animated show, and some people compared some of it to Smallville. I can kind of see that, even though I really don't want to. But there's certain elements that he's taken from everywhere. So everybody's going to recognize those particular elements, that they see. For me, I saw a lot of Man of Steel in this movie, and in ways that I'm happy that, all these years later, whether it's ingenuously or disingenuously, people are lauding those type of things that they would have said, oh, no. Some of those people, like I said, are full of shit. Others just took time to come around, to be honest with you.
All right. I'm going to be nice. I said I'm going to be nice.
Like I said, please, if you guys are out there and you have a platform, you got a real easy decision to make. You can reach down in the sewer and touch what's down there, or you can stay above the sewage. I always think that the best way is to stay above the sewage. Not everybody needs to be responded to. Not everything needs to be a gotcha moment. Me being right about anything or reaffirming, that's a personal thing. I give a fuck whether you're right or wrong. Doesn't matter to me. I don't get paid. I don't get a bonus. Somebody being right about something or having something reaffirmed, I don't get a direct deposit about it. I really don't need to hear about it, to be honest with you. Even if I'm right about some of the theories that I come up with, okay, I was having fun when I did it. This is supposed to be fun. This is not a war. It's supposed to be fun. Let's have fun. I had fun with this trailer today. Like I said, did I like all of it?
Nice.
Huh?
It'll be fun to be nice.
Like I said, you got issues, man. you got issues with people that are beneath you. Let them stay there. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's hit the chat. Okay, Captain Civil War bod. I got a little bit of that. Not
you're gonna have to explain that to me because I don't think I saw any of that.
The whole establishment versus the hero type thing, and the Pentagon getting involved and regulating it. It sounds like the Superman is about to be regulated by the government. Which, if you go into Civil War, that was the whole crux of that story. Is that they were being not a lot, Chuck, not a lot, but enough to where I could see where you might have seen that. I'm not bringing up fourth snack, you guys. Physics feel way off, but it's it did. But I linked myself to that. I'm like, okay, in order for me to enjoy those flying scenes and those angles in the cinematography, I have to be like, okay, this is the movie. But I really like the flight scenes. I really like the angles that they're approaching it at, especially the flight scenes. It's more, dude. Flight scenes are some of the most important scenes in Superman. So and I think that even a movie I'm not the biggest fan of, which is Superman Returns, there's nothing you can say about those fight scenes.
Oh yeah,
that's not what hurts the movie. Yeah, that's not what that kills. The story kills that movie, but it's fight scenes and it's aesthetics in Superman Returns. You know
what else has good flight scenes, even though it's a terrible movie, is Supergirl. That's actually from that era, like the Christopher Reeve era.
the Helen Slater. Yeah, that was
like from the ones from that era. That's the one. Actually, the one I think where the effects have actually aged the best, and it's the worst of them.
Yeah, and that's what you got the sense of that, Fly. I really want to find out who the fuck you are, but
it's Fly. Of course, we know
it's no. I don't even think it's forced anymore. He's Superman. He don't even. That's how he felt. And you know how corn sweat can fade. That look on his face is like, are you kidding me right now? I'm trying to use my powers to save people. You want me to go get a permit? What's the point of me having this power and being able to fly faster than a
exactly? I mean, it's like, who could have ever thought to ask that question with Superman?
To get to these people, and how he conveyed that was exactly how somebody who could do good and just did it would do. So I felt that. Listen, this is the first time I got to see Corn Sweat talk other than to a dog.
We didn't.
So
take me home, Crypto.
Yeah. So here you kind of get to the meter, and remember what I said. The most important thing about a trailer is the premise. Is you get the premise. I got the premise.
Well, we got a taste of the premise, so we don't have like the entirety of it.
I got the basic premise.
It's Superman, it's predicated on the public perception
and him and what Lex Luthor is doing. Now I'm more convinced now that Lex Luthor is the primary villain and that there is not a hidden villain.
I think he's that big kaiju.
Yeah, or no, I think that's an opening scene. I think that's a scene that doesn't have anything to do with it.
So you think that's the conflict that he intervenes in that gets him in hot water?
No, I think the war is the war.
Okay.
When you see the kid with the flag and the Superman logo. So yeah. Let's see. Someone looking at his card. What his eyes up there. Guys, I'm skipping certain comments because they're just outright silly, and I just don't have time right now.
Well, I mean, that's why we love our chat.
No, I'm not. I wish we weren't going through this, to be honest with you. But here's the thing, though. We would be going with this because Zack Snyder had a finite ending, and you weren't going to stop Superman. I'm against intergenerational. I'm against you stopping what you're doing to start something else. But that's not enough reason for me to not see this, because to be honest with you, I don't know what he's doing here. Once again, reboot is a term for fans. Storytellers, generally good ones, don't. When's the last time you heard James Gunn? And go look, use the word reboot. Now, he has certain elements, and we don't know what they are, that he's carrying over from the DCEU. We don't know. We could guess for the cows come home. So in order to call something a reboot, you'd have to actually know what you're talking about. And he has the information. We don't. All right. Are you quoting Senator Finch a couple of times here?
Oh, yeah. By the way, that was also kind of a little bit of a revelation in the trailer that Rick Flag apparently has become Secretary of Defense, between Creature Commandos and now.
Yeah, and that'll probably bleed over into Peacemaker. Lex trying to but yeah, because here's the thing though, and that's an angle that I think is kind of cool, because when Jesse Eisenberg did it, it was a god. See, you see in this premise, Lex Luthor is jealous because the world is revolving around Superman, and he figures the world should revolve around Lex, the smartest man in the world, billion and all that stuff. That's he feels like, why is this alien, this doing this? Whereas with Eisenberg, it was sort of similar, but it was predicated on this man has got like powers.
Where were you when my dad was beating me up?
That and who are you to call yourself God? I'm Lex Luthor. So I see the parallels there as well.
Oh, Rhea.
Yeah. His emotion. Yeah, that was cool, because I'd be pissed off too. I'm like, dude, I just saved millions of people from dying possibly, and all you guys can do is nitpick. At some point, you might lose your composure and be like, hey, man, what the hell? How about a pat on the back?
And where is the Superman? He's at home washing his boots.
Is that supposed to be funny? Did I miss the joke?
Oh, it's Rhea's joke.
Yeah, where? Oh, no, you're trying to be funny. I'm sorry. Rhea just typed some shit.
I took her joke and I made it hilarious. It was already very funny, though.
David actually makes Clark feel like a geek. Yeah. That,
and that's too much of his glasses on either.
Yeah, he has that crazy hair. I've seen that. He has a Tony Khan hair.
Oh, God, don't get me started on the Clark Kent hair in this.
Patrick Childs. Hey, William, do you see Robert Rabbit taking Superman getting defensive with the Lois interview? I got a little bit of that. He wasn't too happy about that. That to me was like, that interview, dude, you could have just done that interview and gone back and forth without that, and I would have been okay with that, because that tells me what I need to know at this point going into the movie about what we're walking into as far as how he is viewed, how he is perceived, and how he perceives himself and his duties. That opening to that thing was perfect. That opening to that interview, and I heard about this interview from people who saw portions of it at CinemaCon, and I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought it was just going to be some voiceover bullshit and he'd do some cheesy stuff. I really didn't have high expectations for this trailer. So the way that opens up tells me a lot. And it made up for some lost ground, because this is the first trailer and we're less than 2 months away. I'm used to this being the third trailer. But this trailer, it didn't make up all the ground for me, but it made up a lot of ground. I walked away from this trailer understanding that. But yeah, he didn't think, and he's not the only one. I see some people in the chat too who think it would be out of character for Superman to react that way. Once again, which Superman are we talking about? The one, each person that depicts Superman is going to have that license to do that. Just because some other person didn't, have Superman getting kind of frustrated like that, doesn't mean that's not within him to do so. There are so many elements about Superman that are established, but there are so many that are unexplored. And you also have to realize that the world has changed to the point where, a guy would just take it like, you know what, you want to send me a bill for the destruction? Maybe George Reeves Superman would have been like, yeah, you know what, wink and nod and fly away. But you know what, today's modern male would be like, wait a minute, just risked my ass out there and got half burnt, and this is what you're coming at me with? So I think it is well within the character, because that's the character that's being presented. Just like when what Henry Cavill Superman did, that was within with the character's infrastructure, because that's what that writer and director was telling you. And the next person, if the next person decides he wants to be like, you know what, closed-lipped about it, then that's the right answer there. But in this particular iteration, to make his story work, I think that fits within the character, and the average person can relate about that. It was like, how many people have had what they've done misinterpreted into something that it isn't? I think a lot of people in the audience
Yeah,
will be able to.
yeah, especially in
do
the
it.
context of Superman movies.
Okay, can we focus on this one?
Well, I mean, who's had their stuff
If
misinterpreted?
you're going to make a comparison, say the comparison. Say BBS.
I'm just throwing
say
that out
Man of
there. It's
Steel.
like, I mean, who can relate to being misinterpreted or being misunderstood and maligned for it?
All right. Well, we'll try to keep this on point and serious. They must have cleansed that suit and post.
I don't know. It looked about the same to me.
I can't look at it long enough to where I can't like it. I just really don't like the suit. I don't like the trunks. Like I said, there's just too many things about the suit. I don't like the collar. I don't like how it fits him. I don't like anything.
It's basically, I mean, you can tell from the design, it's basically New 52 meets Kingdom Come as far as the influence of
something I really love, and to me, this is just me being, and this is why this is, the way fandom should work. That S means something to me that it doesn't necessarily mean to the next guy. I think that S and where, not just that it's Superman, it's when it's Superman is more important to me than it showing up anywhere else. That's something I'll have to deal with. That's fine. I like that this Superman has parents who support him. Even his mom is shining his boots. Yeah, and he's decided to go old timey with it, and that's fine because usually, Paul Kent. I don't know if they're going to kill Paul Kent here. Who knows?
Well, usually most iterations he's most adaptations Pocket dies before he.
Yeah, and then after Crisis, John Byrne kept him alive forever. So he could be influenced by that again. Yeah, I like the voiceover from Paul Kent too. I like the voiceover from Paul Kent because that's a constant that is Superman. Remember the core of what Superman's values are is his upbringing and the values that he got from those people. Even if you look at Absolute Superman, he's far removed from Paul Kent. Yet they find each other, and those values are still there. This is the universe that's created by Darkseid, and the Paul Kent's importance to him, even though it's much later in life, are still there and still add to his value set. So,
there's one for me here from excuse me, from Patrick Childs. Brad, when you keep on repeating how you're going to be nice, it tells you you're finding the impulsive. I'm just pointing out that's like there are many opportunities now that what we've seen in the trailer, if this is any indication of what
there's a way to articulate it though about it being snarky about it. There's a way to articulate.
I'm just saying there are
many,
many different avenues where if I wanted to be an asshole, I could absolutely be an asshole.
But we're on a show
pointing out
presenting.
They exist. I'm not saying what
we're on a show that 46. Thank you, by the way. At 1:00 in the morning, are watching. Let's live up to the expectations that people tune into. I know you have some issues.
I'm not pointing out. I'm just saying the way.
Yeah, you're being passive aggressive.
The ways I could be an asshole are there. I haven't.
Okay, let's for the purposes of this show not be the asshole. How about that? I'm
not being the asshole. I'm just saying if I chose to be, which I'm not.
Okay, then you're being the asshole. Stop it. It's like I'm talking in circles. What's this? What is that?
Yeah, it looks like a
turtle. Oh, down in the sewer. Yeah. No, not really. No,
well,
you guys.
We'll look at Fort's picture there. Of course, he's down in the sewer.
You're a walrus. No, you guys will know who I'm talking about. You guys will see the terminology that they're using. And like I said, I love today being able to talk to some fans about the trailer that came in the store. And I'm like, we're talking about Superman. I have people that just that didn't like any of the Snyder stuff, but respected it. But we talk for hours. We walk over to Superman section and be like, we'll talk about this. And it doesn't get ugly. I don't know. I've had people, I think Snyder movies are shit, but he doesn't call me any names. And I tell him, listen, I got a buddy that comes to the store all the time. He knows how I feel about Smallville. He knows I think Smallville, and my personal spending, is smoldering hot garbage. It's a thing. We go back at it with each other. It's fun. But I don't think he's an asshole. I would never call him a name for liking Smallville. I don't truly hate Smallville, by the way. It's more fun for me to fuck with it, but it's not my thing. It's in the bottom of my list. But when you're talking to somebody in person about these things and you're surrounded about these things, the conversation is much different. And I'm always wondering how many of these people would even open their mouths if we were at a Starbucks or we were at a convention or we were somewhere to where we can realize that we are talking about things that should never reach to the level of that is not living. Enjoy the trailer. There are people out there that just boycotting the trailer. I'm like, okay, that's fine. but then the ones that did watch it, like I said, some of them already had this stuff written down. And when you already have a preconceived notion before you've seen anything, that means it's not about the movie. And if it's not about the movie, if it's not about Superman, then step back, man. You know, so yeah, that's what I mean by the stewage. And unfortunately, if I wanted to, I could find an example within 2 seconds. That's the unfortunate about it. I could find it somewhere where it started positive, and then there you go. Or I could see a post that I don't know why certain social media thinks, William, you want to see this? I don't want to see this asshole. Where in my culture does it say that this asshole who says Snyder Bros need to move on as part of their highlight? Why would you direct that to me? I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that. All right. So, you know, and I click on that, but randomly, sometimes I got some good ones, and, you know, some people have been honest. I hated this back in 2013. I've grown to appreciate that. So, like I said, if you're going to cheer on the elements that I saw in the trailer today, just be honest about it. Maybe you've evolved to the point where we can have a good conversation. That's all. Yeah. Where he's defending his actions to Lois was going. But by the way, obviously she loves the guy, but, you know, or however they've been going. I think they've only been going out for a little bit, but, you know, that doesn't take long. She's playing devil's advocate, though. So she was asking the questions that the general public, that she hears and sees the general public asking. So I love that scene, by the way. It was just announced that Action Joe jumping. Oh, man. Oh, that sucks. Man. I mean, listen, we all go, but damn, Joe Don Baker, dude, that guy, I grew up watching that guy on. Oh, man. 1936. Oh, that guy was in a lot of stuff. February 12th. Hey, rest in peace, Joe Don Baker. Shit.
Yeah, I saw that comment before I.
Oh, man.
89. Wow.
Oh, hey, listen. I want everybody to stay on the planet as long as you can. 89. That's a good run, man. Oh, damn, dude. Cool hell. I mean, he was in stuff before I was even born. Before I even knew what a movie was, he had already made his mark. Walking Tall, for me, this is for me. Walking Tall, Frame Mitchell. Dude.
My intro to him, the Congo villain, yeah.
Living Daylights. Yeah. He's great in Living Daylights. Leonard Part 6 was stupid. But it was supposed to be. Cape Fear, Distinguished Gentleman, Reality Bites.
Yeah, Cape Fear. Yeah, the first thing I saw was Congo, and yeah, he's the villain. Did you get the diamonds? Did you?
Okay, I'm sorry. GoldenEye, he returned. He did Mars Attacks. He was tomorrow. He was the Bond. He was part of the Bond. He was that like
trash.
He's a CIA guy.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt.
Oh yeah, it was a Joe Dirt. Yeah, he's the father of the Joe Dirt's girlfriend. He gets loses. He gets cut off by the when he gets stuck by on the train track with the drunk.
I'm gonna leave the Joe Dirt references.
Well, that's by far his best role.
I will never Gunsmoke. I mean, Bonanza.
Yeah, Brandy's dead.
Iron Horse. Honey. I mean, God, man. Joe Don Baker. I mean, this guy. This guy was he had his career spanned a lot. Rest in peace, Joe Don Baker. All right. Well, damn. Where was I? Shit.
Money. Hubba. Who you trust?
I am.
What's all Batman Joker quotes all of a sudden in the chat?
Okay. All right. Let's see. If he didn't help people, they would have died. That's what I mean. It's and the fact that once again he did not shy away from that, because that's been a big contention for a lot of people, the collateral damage that these superheroes cause. But once again, if you don't really much have a choice, if you're fighting something big that does destruction no matter what, you have two choices. You can either let it stomp on everything and do what it's going to do, or you can try to stop it. Yes, you are going to cause some collateral damage. People are going to die. But those people have a chance with you fighting. Those people have no chance if Superman doesn't fight Zod in Man of Steel. Guess what the chances of all life on Earth dying? Yeah.
Pretty high.
So it's pretty high. If the kaiju or whatever Lex did, Yeah, do you want to have a chance of life, or you want certain death? So I mean, it's gonna happen. So the already answered that.
Well, I mean, Aaron's also got the difference between being nice and being kind. I think Seuss can be kind, but he keeps acting like he's morally above everyone. It kind of misses the point of real humanity and fairness.
And I don't personally, I personally haven't seen a Superman. I think she's doing a contrast between those two things, but I don't think she's saying. I don't think you're saying that there's been have you seen there's been a portrayal that way? But I just want to make sure I answer. I respond to content. But yeah, because I think just about every Superman, pretty much. I mean, even whether it be Cavill, whether it be George Reeve, they've all been kind. I think with Cavill he was kind. Hold on, because we're having a StreamYard issue with someone else. But he was just stoic, and I think a lot of people, not you, Ray, but I think what a lot of people mistake Cavill's calm stoicism for depressed and downtrodden and all that. It's no, he was composed. He was brought up to be composed. He was brought up in that particular movie to keep his emotions under check because of the damage he could do. And each writer has to define that. So yeah, I think Superman in general, and every version I've ever seen, even the versions I don't like, which are, very far and few in between, are he's been kind of, and a lot of that comes from his upbringing. Yeah. Okay, what you like about the show? Gotcha.
Well, also for another topic on the thumbnail. Yes, it is stupid because and how long did it last? Too, what, like 2 years?
Well, he came in, but he bought the company in April of 2022.
Yeah,
when
did that get name changed and even just like, even if it had been a name change like that in the abstract, I wouldn't have necessarily thought it was a bad decision. But I mean, just going to Max, and what the fuck is Max for, like, the name of like a streaming platform? But yeah, to go back to, and that's why, William, I'm gonna let you say it. Like, why did they put the HBO back in there?
Because it's a brand that's been around for 5 decades. When you hear HBO, when you see that static, you think of Game of Thrones, you think of 6 Feet Under, you think of Sopranos, you think of Leftovers, you think of Watchmen, you think of Oz, you think of all these things, and not just that's just their TV shows from 1970, I think 75, and all the way up. They have set the standard. They have set the standard for cable entertainment. HBO, everybody knows HBO. Everybody knows HBO. Every generation, my dad, everybody. There's a generational brand name that you inherited that. You inherited, and the reasons that they gave were stupid. Some really smart people who went to school for this sat around with some marketing people that went to school for this that are making some serious cash.
Yeah, you went out there for a second.
Yeah, some people that make some serious cash all got together and said this was a good idea. And a dummy like me, the day that you did it, an absolute fucking buffoon like me said, that's stupid. That's stupid. And 2 years later, I'm right. I'm right for a whole lot less money. I'm right. I don't have a title next to my name. I could tell you that was dumb. You would take any brand that has been around for decades and you take it away from something. That's silly. You try to put that brand on more things. Yeah. Now, HBO Go and all that other stuff needs to go away, but HBO itself, no. What the hell?
Well, now, one thing I'm not clear with, is that now the reinstating of the original title, is that effective immediately, or is that like pending like July or something, or like when's it supposed to be?
Let's find out. Oh hell no, I'm not.
I think you can X that out. I think you can X that. Yeah, there you
go. It'll come back, but we'll be done with it. Turns out Warner Brothers Discovery thinks HBO has some pretty good brand equity after all.
Oh God, that's such a great intro.
This summer, HBO MAX will bend the knee and rebrand back to and they got Game of Thrones.
Oh, I love this article.
This is Variety. The change comes just after 2 years after Warner Brothers Discovery decided to drop HBO from the streamer's name to become just Max. Note that while HBO and Max have carried separate commercial branding during
their time, they've competed under one HBO Max label for industry awards. The surprise announcement made less than 2 months after Max tweaked its logo. Yeah, I remember that they changed the color to look more like a classic black and white HBO color scheme. Was revealed at Warner Brothers Discovery's upfront presentation to ad execs in New York on Wednesday. In a press release, Warner Brothers Discovery said returning to the HBO brand into HBO Max will further drive the service forward and amplify the uniqueness that subscribers can expect from the offering.
Which you could have been doing for 2 years now if you kept the HBO
it is also a testament to Warner Brothers Discovery willingness to keep boldly iterating its strategy and approach, leaning heavily on its consumer data insights and best position for its self-success. You didn't need that to not make this decision 2 years ago, but that's fine. Warner Brothers Discovery touted its streaming business growth, noting that the division has improved its profitability by almost $3 billion in 2 years. That's actually right and good, and added 22 million subscribers over the past year. The company says the streamer is on track to reach more than 150 million subscribers by the end of 2026. The powerful growth we have seen in our global streaming service, finally global, is built around the quality of our programming. Warner Brothers Discovery president and CEO David Zaslav told the audience in the theater at Madison Square Garden, "Today we are bringing back HBO, the brand." So you created the problem and you're fixing it. Okay. The brand that represents the highest quality in media to further accelerate the growth in the years ahead. WBD's naming flip-flopping for this flagship streaming service, which has caused more than a little confusion amongst consumers, amounts to an admission by the company.
No shit.
It can't be as broad as the industry leader Netflix. The original justification for dropping HBO from HBO Max was to signal something for everyone content cornucopia. What? I never listen. HBO shows they got stuff on. They had Fraggle Rock on there. They had Fraggle Rock and they had slasher stuff. They had Autopsy. You literally had a show with a guy cutting up dead bodies on the same channel that you could have a Looney Tunes cartoon movie on. We understand. Listen. This is what Zaslav was doing, and a lot of corporations do that. We don't need scratch and sniff. We're not all babies, and even the babies are smarter than you're giving people credit. You did not need to do that to show me that there was something. It shows me that there was something for everything. What shows me that there's something for everybody under HBO? 50 years of you doing it. So yeah. All right, Warner Brothers Discovery President, CEO JB Perret, whatever. We will continue to focus on what makes us unique. Not everything for everyone in a household, but something distinct and great for adults and families. It's really not subjective, not even controversial. Our programming, it just hits different. With the course we are on and strong momentum we are enjoying, we believe HBO Max far better represents our current consumer position. It always did, says Casey Bloys, one of the guys who actually I'm glad he kept his job. Chairman and CEO of HBO Max and Content, because I know he did not like this move, said and clearly states our implicit promise to deliver content that is recognized as unique to steal the line we said at HBO we're paying for. All right. The social media team of Warner Brothers clearly knew that the internet would have a field day with the news and reversion streaming. And yeah, they've been all over the place. In HBO Max, to their credit, they've got on board with it.
Oh yeah, they've been having fun with like a lot of their social media posts today. There's one. Did you see that one with the penguin?
Yeah,
that was pretty good. So they've been having fun.
For those of you who don't know, that's when Jon Snow came back to life after being killed the previous season. Let's see. Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too. The Spider-Man meme with Superman.
Yeah, and that the whole HBO Max now go and all that, and then they got somebody in the back there in the corner. So there you go. Like I said, if you want to scroll back to the shows that we were airing, I don't know if you were there when we had those shows, but I know that
I should have been there for it was talking about HBO Max, like the title switch and.
Yeah, the moment that was even uttered, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? They're not going to do that." Mm-hmm. Somebody said, "William, you hear the bit? They're going to." No, they're not. Yeah, somebody said this. Listen, just somebody said some shit doesn't mean they're going to do some shit. They did that shit, and it was dumb. I'm like, "What are you doing? You inherited one of the greatest brand names ever, and you cut it. You just basically took the butter knife and just put it right in your foot. What are you doing? So I don't know, man. I'm glad to have it back. HBO Max is back. I be honest with you, half the time when we mention it on the damn channel anyway, we called it HBO Max anyway. But you know why?
It's kind of like Twitter. Nobody calls it X. They call it Twitter.
Yeah, because when you have a brand, even when you drive away from that brand, it still works without you. And with somebody will buy Twitter, and guess what they're going to do about it? They're going to put that blue bird back there and all this excellent.
I'm looking at it. It doesn't. It looks like right now it's still listed. The title's still Max. So I'm not.
Yeah, but it's switching over. If you go to the website, it actually shows you with its sunset. They're having fun with it. You know what? They know.
Yeah, they are having fun with it. Yeah,
they're having fun with it. I wish they could get NBA. Yeah. Now, be honest with you, this is the thing about Warner Brothers Discovery that kind of hurts them. Not everybody is on the same page, because you have people that were doing hard work in the sports division that have really increased their metrics and their profile when it comes to, you look at AEW, you look at the NHL, you look at all the good things HBO Sports has done, and then you have Zaslav doing something else that's contrary to that. Him negotiating, him getting involved in it. He's the CEO, but Casey Bloys and all those guys that got NHL and got wrestling and got all the sports on HBO Max, which has really helped them. Those guys should have been doing the negotiation. And David Zaslav should have never said anything, because once he said some of the stuff he said, it lowered the value of what people were willing to leverage. He really talked himself out of a deal that could have worked for him, and he negotiated out in public. When he says, I don't think we need the NBA, even if you believe some stupid shit like that, you don't say it out loud when you got Adam Silver with other people offering. You had it. And what you allowed yourself to do is allowed it to go into the domain with entities you cannot outbid. You were never going to outbid Amazon. You were never going to outbid NBC Universal. So, but when you had it under your umbrella, you had the right of first refusal. So I think, listen, the guy's learning. It's, he was Pimple Popper dude. He was Pimple Popper dude, and now he took on this, and I think he was in over his head at once.
Here's another good one I just saw, like, as far as like the memes. This is from their official Twitter.
Yeah, and you know what?
You're having a field day with this, and then I love it.
They are evolving. The David Zaslav from 2 years ago and the David Zaslav now they're not the same person. Because to be honest with you, most CEOs, when they make a legacy decision like that, rather than admit they're wrong, they double down on it. I think if David Zaslav had an opportunity to get the NBA back, I think he would do things differently. He seems like a guy that learns, and like I said, when he tried to do the whole DC thing, and then realized, okay, I need a studio head. I need a studio head now. So
one, also realizing even in getting a studio head, how that there still was like a big trade off in that too, with like with how it's unfolded. And I suppose this caption they put up there is also directed to me. Everyone's allowed to change their minds. Yeah, they are. Like I said, I'm nice to people who change their minds. I'll be nice. I promise I'll be nice.
The fact that you have to say that, you got issues. Imagine a full tour. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's gonna suck after this year, because this is the last.
Let's see if they have any other ones that they put up that we haven't seen yet.
This is the last year of him inside the NBA, and it's, to me, that's a brand. Once again, a brand that you inherited. You didn't have to do anything. All you had to do is negotiate in good faith, and you would have had the NBA. All you had to do is not change HBO Max to Max, and you would have,
Here's a good one. This is the one that got pinned to the top of their Twitter. Now, there's music with this, so I'm not going to play that. We're going to get
we're already going to get dinged.
The algorithm bullshit on us again, but okay. So, we belong together. HBO Max. So okay, so it's not like a proper date necessarily set, but it is like this summer. June. Okay, so that's within about 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. Hey guys, I can't come out. How you doing? I loved Superman full trailer. Wow, that was amazing. Hit all the right beats. Got me more excited about it. You know what it did? Like I said, I am interested in this movie. I am, more so after yesterday than today. I was going to see it anyway. So when you're of the mindset that we're going to see this, we're going to cover it. I'm going to be promoting it. So when you're of that mindset already, I didn't need to be moved. I can understand from a normal consumer point, because I was already going to go see it. But I feel better. How about that, Chris? I feel better about this movie going into it than I did 24 hours ago, because I was, like I said, I just didn't want to see the cartoonish stuff, and I wanted to see what James Gunn was going to give me. I don't listen. I can appreciate that you all have composite Supermans and memories about Superman that you like in your head, and that's fine. I don't want to see a filmmaker ever refer to it's our head in our head to tell a story. I don't want a filmmaker to ever yield to the selective, recall that makes us feel good, because that person has to write a full story, not your feel good moments of which you remember Superman to be, but what Superman actually has to be for about 2 hours and beyond, depending on if you're doing a universe, in which we are here. So that was my biggest fear, because there's a lot of noise when it comes to Superman, and a lot of it is bullshit. That's not Superman. Superman is back. Oh, finally somebody that gets Superman. And the load of shit just piles and piles to the sky. So I'm always worried of, if when storytellers hear that, do they worry about, well, this is the audience I need to cater to, right? Because they're the loudest ones. That's what happened to Star Trek for 12 years. Those people who choked the life out of Enterprise weren't even the majority of Star Trek fans. Those old Trek guys that suffocated the fun out of everything, they weren't even the majority of us. And then Star Trek figured out, like, okay, wait, we think there's some Star Trek fans out here that are not necessarily kicking down our doors with disgust that we can tap into, and they did. So I was worried about, okay, what direction are we going to go here? Are we going to go with the kind of James Gunn stuff that I've seen him do? Or because this is Superman, is he going to change? Is he going to try to lean towards the people who really, in my opinion, have their versions in their head, but not one that would necessarily play out on the screen? And what I saw today, just from the trailer I saw today, that may not necessarily be enough. I am more comfortable with the direction that he's taking this character than I was on May 12th. So that's how I feel.
Well, on that note, yep.
They're never gonna sell HBO.
No, she's saying just WB in general gets sold off or gets bought out or gets merged.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could happen. I could wake up to it. I don't know. The right deal has to happen, because if you're a purchasing company, once again, they still got a shitload of debt. And when you assume their debt, unless you're a big $1 trillion company, that debt load is yours now, and it brings down your stock, because you're now paying back money with interest, and your value of your dollar goes down. Kenneth, David as Superman Clark, his personality reminds me of a mix of Chris, Tyler, Tom, George, Brandon, but most of all, not copying what they did. It's more of an addition to the character. Yeah, he seems to have a spontaneity about him that I find cool. I don't think it's suitable for every version of Superman, but for the story that seems like they're being told here, I think it's the right tone. Kind of like Ewan McGregor with his version of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he made it his own. Yeah, and I think each and every Superman should be allowed to do that. So I'm okay here. That. All right, guys, it is hour and a half. I think we covered. We only had the two topics.
Pretty much, yeah. And yeah, that article was so funny, like the HBO MAX thing.
Well, it reads exactly how you think it should read.
Pretty much,
reads exactly how what people are saying, and they knew it. They knew it when they did it. So
between that and like the Oscars one we did about 2 weeks ago, it's like those are like our funniest reading like variety articles we've done on here.
Yeah, and guys, don't stay out of my inbox with trying to justify the Oscars, and you're not going to change me when it comes to the Oscars. I was done before you even knew who I was. Before any of you knew who I was already done with the Oscars. I didn't get to being done with the Oscars last week. I gradually said, maybe there's something better I could be doing with my time. It's 4 hours on a Sunday or Monday than trying to figure out what the hell this movie is that just won all these awards. How about that? So yeah, I was done with the Oscars, but yeah, with this HBO Max thing, this is dumb to begin with. And like I said, they made a lot of, to be honest with you, this brand new regime made a lot of really dumb decisions coming in. But here's the thing, though. They are they're learning. They're taking those tricycle wheels, those training wheels off, and they're starting to ride on their own. Yeah, they have made mistakes, and they're not perfect, and they'll probably make a few more. But you went from Discovery Network, your small little pocket channel on cable, to running the oldest studio in America and one of the largest entertainment companies around. That's not even easy to say. So the mistakes that they've made, although they suck, and as fans, we've kind of like had to bear the brunt of them. They have done some good things. They have, like I said, if Zaslav does nothing else, appointing a DC studio head when, hey, you know what? If it was so easy, the previous regime would have done it. So he did it. Setting the tone of, hey, if this isn't going to make us money, it needs to go, and not necessarily folding because of, somebody wants to see it. If they ain't paying for it, and he made that decision. So he's made some goofball decisions, yeah, but it balances out with things like this. And you know what? One of his goofball decisions is he's undoing it, and they're making fun of themselves while they do it. Which is, you know what? That tells me that these people are evolving, even if it's an inch. That's okay. I would rather have you evolve over time than just stick on something wrong just because you don't want to admit that you fucked up. And if this is a fuck up, let's take HBO MAX. What the hell? I even said that then. I thought it was a joke. And then when it turns out to be real, I'm like, okay, this is stupid. And I even said then, you can go watch the show. I don't think this is going to last very long. Now, it did last longer than I thought it would, but I thought it would have taken a buyout. I thought whoever was going to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery would automatically say, what is this shit? Get that back on there. But no, it ends up being the company that currently owns them. So there you go. That's a good comparison. Stoic, because Daniel Craig is every bit of James Bond as Roger Moore, Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, and Timothy Dalton. He's every one of those guys, or every bit is, but they all did it in a different way. And whereas the wisecracking, sexist type of Sean Connery type of situation, pussy galore and all that, Daniel Craig is not like that at all. But he's James Bond. You see what I mean? So I think there's more diverse, and I think that people are starting to open up to a more diverse ways to tell a Superman story. Like I said, we're seeing different ones told on paper and on film and in cartoon. We're at a place where we were not at, and that's why I'm more open to talking to people who did shit on these things, as long as they're willing to be like, okay, hey, you don't have to like what I like, but at least appreciate it. But for the other ones that are like I said, this is peak Superman. I'm like, how do you know? We haven't seen it, dude. You know how many trailers I've seen where the trailer was fucking awesome and literally had my money jumping out of my pocket and headed to the box office on its own? You know how many times I've seen that and I've gone to see the movie and it was so disappointing? We've talked about some of these movies on where the trailer lied to me. The trailer said that was a good movie, and I went to go see those movies, and I'm like, what? The best parts of the movie were given to me in a 2-minute trailer. So yeah, I mean, not saying that this is going to be the case with Superman, but I can't call something peak that I haven't seen, and I don't know how anyone else can. What if the trailer in the movie is completely different? In the 2 hours that we have, the rest of the 2 hours that we have to watch this movie, he's doing a whole bunch of stuff that you guys don't end up liking. You never know. So yeah, I mean, just understand that it's a trailer, and it's the only trailer we've had. Got a teaser, got a behind the scenes, but it's the only trailer. I hope we get another one. I don't know if we will, because generally inside of the 90-day, it's just the one. But he could surprise us, give us some other stuff. But right now, if I don't get another trailer, I have everything I need to go forward with this movie. Restore the music, television, yeah, MTV.
Yeah, Music Awards.
Yeah, restore music on MTV. Yeah, MTV Music Awards were, dude. In the mid to late 90s, MTV Music Awards outshined everything. And the MTV and the music video awards too. Man, those are some of the biggest nights. They've kind of tailed off now because MTV has tailed off. At one point there was no reality TV on a Real World or MTV. Now, since the Real World in 1992, they've had reality TV all over the place, and that's pretty much become their their calling card, which is why I really don't watch a lot of I'd be mad. You don't need it. Why you don't need it? It's been folded up into Peacock. Everything that was on the WWE network is on Peacock, and as those deals expire, they'll be on Netflix. The WWE network was kind of redundant because there's so much of that content was already in a bunch of different places. So, and they got paid a lot of money. So, all right, guys, that is it. 60 of you watching now at 1:30 in the morning. Please like, subscribe. There's a QR code on the top there. You can probably scan. Otherwise, you can go if you're watching on Twitter. This is a gnat. It's driving me crazy. You can also come over to the mothership. Come over to youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center and join us where your support means the most. I mean, I love having you on these other formats. I love having you on Twitter. I mean, I'd rather have you watching somewhere than not watching at all. But like I said, business reasons, it's better for us if you're watching us on YouTube. Here you go, right there. So if you're watching us on if you're away from the computer right now, here's your chance to run back. Go hit subscribe, like all the videos, the ones you like. Also hit the alert bell because every now and then you actually get alerted when we're on the air. And sometimes, not making any promises, sometimes it's actually while the show is on the air live. So, and with that, we will be back here tomorrow.
And no one, unfortunately, will not have seen Final Destination by then. I know Williams said it all together, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to see it Friday night.
We're done. Like I said, next movie I'll probably see in the theaters is going to be Mission Impossible. And then right after that, a week after that, I'm going to go see Ballerina on Monday, June 1st. Before other people get a chance to see it. And I call those people losers.
When I say I'm going to be nice,
losers.
You notice that I never use the word promise in
with
this.
an L, with a capital L.
I make promise of nothing. When I
profess
I'll be nice about anything.
I'm going to do a stream. And I'm gonna do a spoiler alert stream, and I'm gonna Brad. Are you watching, Brad?
You notice when I say I'm gonna be nice, again,
I'm not even gonna put up the spoiler
I'm not
alert.
overtly committing to being nice.
I'm like, all this dude talks about is kung fu. He can't find a way to a big city to go.
You notice how my niceness, guys, it isn't like actually a legally binding contract.
But here's the thing. I'm gonna. You should feel good about one thing, that I'm going to be having fun watching this. Right. Good for me. It should feel good for me that I'll be having fun watching Ana de Armas with a water hose go up against a guy with a flamethrower.
Because then when you come back on and talk about it, you have to talk about kung fu on the sci-fi.
No, I don't. I've talked about John Wick. We've watched John Wick without me talking about kung fu.
No, it's a package deal.
No, it's not.
You can
for someone obsessed with kung fu, it is. For somebody who just goes to see action, I don't go to a movie because there's kung fu in it. If there's kung fu in it, that's fine.
There is.
But I'm not going to. Oh wow! I wonder what the fighting style is. Nah, I see some people breaking bones and kicking ass, and it's cool. But I'm not that guy. I'm not
again, guys. You notice I'm also not that guy when I say I'm going to be nice about something. You notice that it's never like written. It's always written in pencil.
I mean, it's not my fault that you don't live in a city that's doing a pre-screening. If you live
it's not my fault that me professing to be nice isn't necessarily.
If we lived in Vegas on June 2nd, you would be with me. Well, if you lived in Vegas, you would have met Zack Snyder already because I was at that kind of stuff too. But I don't feel bad about that.
And you notice too when I say
I don't feel bad about that one because
the alternative is not apathy. The alternative would be blinding, furious rage. That
I offered to fly Brad out to meet Zack Snyder.
You notice how that I never rule out like
Brad stiffed me,
going absolute postal.
Brad stiffed me. Brad turned me down.
I'm going to be nice to.
If those of you Snyder fans out there, bros or bots, whatever if you got offered to come out to Vegas on Super Bowl week to meet Zack Snyder
ahead of time,
I know some people who would have been like, they'd have been there. Yeah, I know it was short notice, but I got you to notice as soon as I got to notice, and I had a free flight too because of what my mom did for a living. I had you hooked up, man. You wouldn't even have to stay the night. You could have flown back if you wanted to. We could have done a red eye. I understand, but like I said, it wasn't like I didn't offer. And you know what? Hey, if you can make it out to Vegas by June 2nd, I'll hook you up with a ballerina poster, a T-shirt. I'll probably hook you up with a poster and a T-shirt anyway.
And William hasn't, so I will have. When we get to ballerina, I will have comprehensively seen the entire John Wick franchise, and he hasn't.
Sure. I know New York is where the Big Apple is, but oh my God, why did I pull that up? Why did I pull that up? So that it means that the other show he's not gonna be. Yeah. Well, he's a bit of an. Brad is a latent asshole to begin with. You got it. You poke him, he's gonna squirt. It's not gonna be blood. It's gonna be a little bit of asshole fluid. There you go. Brad missed an opportunity. Hey, listen, I'm serious, but yeah, it was a tight crunch. But I made the offer. I thought he would jump at it, but
I would have jumped at it if again I don't have this thing called like obligations.
Call in. You could have been like, hey, you know what? That dude, that would have been something to write about. I mean, that was a fun night, by the way.
I really we have it SCAD downtown. We have the Savannah Film Festival. They got to book Zach for that at some point. Yeah, we have big stars out. We've got Hugh Jackman out here. We've had
fucking what's his face with James Gunn is wandering around comic book shops in your city.
Exactly. Nobody told me about that until he posted on social media.
That's probably by design because you throw him down. I'd have been like, hey, what's up, man? I can't get an interview with him. I have a mutual who has asked on my behalf, but I'm never going to get an interview for him. So, all right, guys, that's really it for tonight. And I've ran out of Aaron kicking memes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can find
one. I told Wayne last night, it's like he should have done one where it's like he's kicking Lex Luthor because if you're ever going to do it, Dave's birthday.
Which one? Him, the new one?
Nicholas Holt. Which other Lex Luthor are you going to go with? Which trailer we're watching?
We know I should have done one when Gene Hackman passed away, and I should have did the RIP Gene Hackman and had her kick him and the thing. But, all right, we're out of here. I got to go order some food and get something to eat and go to sleep and head into the weekend. See you guys tomorrow night.
See you guys later. I promise I'll be nice.
Yep.
Probably.